Welcome to Security Insights with Arvind Dhillon, your bi-weekly deep dive into security insights, strategies, and innovations in the security industry. I'm your host, Arvind Dhillon, and today we're going to discuss the change in mindset that you need from a technician to CEO. It's the hardest mindset shift, but it's the most rewarding. I'm going to talk about my time as a technician, how it influenced me founding my own security company, and the challenges that we had and how we developed our systems. Today we have Tuche here. She's all mic'd up and she will be asking me all the simple questions.
Hey everyone, this is Tuche. Not quite simple questions, but some hard, some easy, just the hard truth.
So whether you're a security insider, security business owner, or someone with a keen eye in the security industry, this episode is for you. Let's get started. If you want to scale your business, you must make the mind shift. From a technician to CEO, the journey is hard. It's not an easy journey that you can take, but you must know that if you want to be successful in business, you want to scale, you want to hire employees, you must have the mind shift. I have learned my lesson in a very tough situation where I was the guy running during the day, running through the attics, running the wires, installing the systems, doing the sales calls, doing the invoicing, and then my system basically had no systems in place. I was a one-man show, but that had to change real fast. The first biggest mind shift was when we hired our first employee. I always thought that I am the best at it and I will be nobody can do a better job than me. But then I realized in 2008, when the financial collapse was happening, that I am way behind on my invoicing to customers. With that, the challenges of cash flow came into play. That's when I had to make the hard stop that said it's enough. I had to hang my tools, and we are going to have this mind shift from technician to CEO.
You spoke before about how you had to change your mindset from technician to CEO. And we want to zero in a bit more on the details. You said that you used to wear too many hats at the start of cohort. What aspects of business were you running? Let's have a list on that. What you were running and what are those hats?
So when I first started, my job was to sell the job, talk to a customer, order the parts, then go install the job, then come home at night and do the paperwork and send them an invoice. It was fine when it was just one job a week or one job every couple of weeks. Then it was two jobs. It was all fine. There was no issues whatsoever. But as we started to do more jobs and the bigger jobs, that's when the challenges started to come into play, where some of the jobs where the parts will be ordered and not all the parts were received. We had no idea why the parts weren't received, or we forgot to order some parts. So that's when we started to lag.
So how many jobs you had that made you overwhelmed? So 1, 2 was fine once in a while. What was your limit that you were capable of doing by yourself?
I think between me and Jazz, we probably done I would say 50 plus jobs like that.
It's quite a big number still.
Before we hired any employees or have any external help.
Was all these jobs usually residential jobs or larger scales mix?
No, most of them were residential. There were a few small commercial jobs, small retail jobs, but most of them were residential jobs.
So you weren't alone though. you haven't started as a one-person show necessarily, because your partner Jazz was in that center involved to
Yes.
beginning this entrepreneurship. So how did you divide that part? What was the responsibilities that you divided, the hats? Who was wearing which hat?
That's an interesting question.
Was it all over?
Basically, from day one, I've been the face of the company. Not sure why I was, but that's how we started. I would talk to the customer, um, write up a quotation along with the Jazz, get his input in what kind of system we should design to install. Um, but mostly, I was doing the work. Jazz was mostly always been the field guy with the very hands-on technical skills, and he also was working at another job as well. So I was the one that started it and closing the deals, and doing all the office work, where when we go to install it, it would be me and Jess together installing it. I don't think I would possibly be able to actually stay that late at night and then finish the jobs myself.
Like, understandable for sure. But you keep saying you were the face off, you were the main person. So all these aspects through the years, I believe it changed, and Jazz's role and the vision between partners is also changed.
Yes.
So you are not that involved anymore in that part.
Yeah. So then the biggest shift happened in 2008, when the financial crisis happened in the US and basically all over the world, but mainly it was hit with in the US and in Canada. We had a lot of jobs in the pipeline where we haven't got around to billing our customers. So if we weren't billing our customers, that means we weren't getting paid, but we were racking up debt on our credit cards, on our personal line of credits, and yeah, we were doing a lot of jobs, and by this time, I think we had quite a few employees working for us and subcontractors as well. So basically, that was the eye-opening. Cash flow was the first challenge that we had, and that boom, then it started our mind shift from a technician to CEO. I think that's when me and Jazz, we both decided that no, I have to get a handle on the office. Office is just as important as doing the jobs outside.
Yeah, doing job and doing it perfectly, that field job is not enough if you're not getting paid. If you're not handling the back end, it's just not gonna survive that business.
100%.
I'm just gonna move a little bit from internal to your little bit external transformation, I would say. Did you have any mentors or consultants who help you when you were making this kind of a transition that you mentioned, like specific 2008, 2009 moment over there? Let's say, even if someone is out there doing it this time, so regardless of the financial crisis, but there needs to be a change, clearly needs a mind shift. Did you get any help, any mentor? Did you have someone that you go through this transition?
I didn't have anybody particular in mentorship, because basically I couldn't afford them either. But I did read a lot of books. That's when I started. I would go to chapters and sit for a couple hours, have a coffee, and I would read a book, not just on security business, but just on the business as a whole. How to grow the business, how to overcome these cash flow challenges, how to hire the right employees, how to train the employees, how to set up the systems. So I think that journey came from there, from different books. I learned different techniques, and it then basically from there we move forward.
You invested in yourself and not just mentored that time. So if you were able to, if you had the budget, would you pay for a mentor or a consultant? Or right now, if you were in that position and let's say you had some budget that you could invest in yourself as an entrepreneur?
It's so when you're first starting out, like you give a more importance to a job. getting a job and finishing the job on time and collecting the payment. Basically, that's what's on your mind, or at least that's what it was on my mind. So maybe I would have, if I had the budget, I would have hired. But I know over the years now, after 17, 18 years, now I can say it's very important to have business coaches or mentors, and that you have to keep in touch with them, because you never know what kind of angle that they have gone through. Um, so yes, basically now I've learned that, but I think at that time when I was 20 something year old, I probably didn't even know what business coach can do for me or mentor would do for me. I just always thought that I have to read a lot of books because that's what my parents told me, and that's what I did.
You did the work still. It was a force, right? Because it wasn't enough when you just think about the job needs to be done correctly. But it wasn't enough as a business owner. If you were just technician, that would be enough maybe. But if you are going ahead as an entrepreneur to become from technician to CEO, you needed to step up, and that force lead you to the books by professionals. Still, they were business coaches, other entrepreneurs that giving those experiences. It was kind of same scale, sounds like.
Same, just budget friendly.
True. Well, let's take the aim a bit differently now. Do you ever miss just being an employee, being a technician out in the field?
Yes, definitely. I think it's some days, not every day. Some days it's much easier to be a technician than actually being as a CEO. The main reason is when the things go sideways and you feel you were responsible for it, whether that's one of your employees, they're having a mental breakdown, or the mindset of someone forgot to order some parts and it was very, very important to finish the job on time, and a lot of time you have a personal relationship with your clients. And then cash flow, that was the biggest challenge back then. Luckily we're in a much better position now. But yes, you feel responsible, and definitely if the bigger your team, then you feel responsible for all those families, not only for your employees, but you also feel responsible for the employees' families as well.
So the responsibility puts the weight quite a bit more.
It's quite a bit, yes.
Yeah, true. And you had those moments that you're in this hard meetings, that you're managemental things going on, and you're imagining what if you were in a technician being in field just installing right now.
Yes, but at the same time, technicians have a lot of challenges as well. When in the cold you have to work, sometimes your hands are freezing. You couldn't find a parking close to the job site, and all those annoying things happen. Then you wish, okay, you're the guy sitting in the office.
Well, you're choosing your own hard, right? Both is hard, all is hard.
It's just different.
Yeah, different type of hard. But again, everyone is choosing which hard they are okay to.
But I have to say I'm blessed to be leading this company and to be involved in the security sector, because that's a field I chose to pursue my career in. And I step by step, I have been climbing the ladder. So I feel very blessed.
That is nice. Beautiful. Just one more thing while we are at the technicians conversations. When was the last time you did an installation or any kind of hands-on work?
That's been a while. I think a couple of years ago. Yes, so in actually 4 years ago, 2021, I had to install a security system at our lake property, and basically that's when I actually did the install.
How did you feel then?
It was challenging. I wasn't that fast at it or that quick at it, but I figured my way through it. had to make a lot of calls to our senior technician Indrapal and Jazz. So whoever was available, they got a lot of calls that day.
You need some warming up then.
I needed some warming up. I need to refresh all the programming in my mind. Where when I call them, they just like, oh, just press this button, that button, and then off you go, right?
Well, when you do the mind shift in that way, you start thinking different problems.
Yes.
So you are like, okay, I'm aware of that field, it is done, but now you are not the technician on field, so it's quite different. Your job changed.
Job changed, and your biggest thing is if you're not doing something every day, then it's still in your mind. You still know how to do it, but it takes a while to get that angle out of your brain. So I could feel it. Like I used to program these systems 2 or 3 times a day, basically back in the day. But then it took me a while. I had to go through the manual and make sure I'm following the steps.
And now it's been 4 years since
Now
you've
it's
done
been
any
4 years.
job.
Now I think I have to either buy a new house or maybe go do a job site change again.
You want to have that practice on? Do you feel that it kind of scares you because you are like not that hands-on, not that practical maybe?
It was very, very rewarding for me because when I actually got the system up and running, and it was very rewarding because you go back to your youth years, you think about the challenges or the good parts about the job that you had. And it's just so satisfying when your customer's happy and you have finished the job, whatever security challenges they had. It's just so rewarding.
You feel the success, you feel the achievement.
You feel the success because it's all peace of mind. What we're providing in our industry is peace of mind.
True.
When you give that peace of mind, they're gonna have a good night's sleep. There's no feeling. It's like such a good feeling.
Yeah, you bring a value to someone else's life, so that's very important. So another hard question here. Do you ever wonder how your life and career would look like if you didn't decide to build Covert and stay working as a technician and working as an employee for another company?
I can't imagine. I think
You never thought about it?
never thought about it. I think this was the path carved for me from very young age. I just didn't know that it was already in the works many years before I actually started my career. It's just one thing led to the other, and I wouldn't change it.
Oh, that is great. It's like no questions in there for sure. So you get the mind. It was the only thing straight through in. There's no question. What if how it would be?
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine working in the same, like that's why I tell all my employees that you might be at the bottom of the chain or bottom of the ladder, but don't think about that. Take it one step at a time. Learn new things. Tell your managers that you're ready to take on more responsibility. You're ready to move on to the next challenge. Because if you're not learning, if you're not progressing, you're becoming stale, right? So that's the mindset I always had, and I try to empower my employees, my colleagues, to do the same.
It's a good thing that you mentioned the technicians into this conversation because we had another questions following that. Do you believe that every technician is capable of shifting their mindset to run a business?
Yes, definitely. I think everyone can be trained with the right training and the right mentorship from the management. I think definitely it can be done. It's not running a business isn't for everyone. Running a business isn't for everyone. It's you need the whole ecosystem. You need a family backing. You need a good friend circle. You need a good networking circle, and that's how you make the business successful.
So you mentioned specifically training and mentoring the technicians to become their own business owners. So that is a big part, but you didn't get that part. You weren't mentored or trained, you became one. So in this part that I want to ask you, are you able to see on the tags who has the mindset to make a business and who will be staying as an employee? What are those potential signs you are seeing that you can understand who can be trained to become a CEO or business owner?
I think with the younger generation, it's a lot easier to see those traits, because if you want to grow, it doesn't matter if you want to grow as an employee, you want to grow as a business owner, or grow as your personal human being. It's always that little extra mile that you go. It doesn't matter that's when you're an employee, you're doing that extra mile for your colleagues, your managers, your friends within the business, your customers. It's always that extra little push that you have. And that drive, unfortunately, we can't teach that to people. We tried, but that drive comes from inside, or something that they have learned in the books or from their family experience. That's the drive that someone has to have if you think they will be successful in running their own business or even running your own team.
So desire to grow, do more, have more, and make more. That can show as a technician or any office person or anyone as manager. You can see if they want more, do more, that extra miles you're talking. And this is not something they can learn. Yes.
I wouldn't say that they can't learn, but it's very hard to teach someone. It's always I find, at least in my personal experience, it's always the people that did just a little bit extra, whether they had to give a ride to someone, or they had to pick up the parts, or they have to stay a little bit late at the job site when the customer is on their way from work. It's those little things that kind of makes it into a bigger rolling effect. And that's when we see that in our employees, we really want to offer them that next category, whether that be a supervisor level, whether that be a head technician or a manager. That's when we start to see, and that's when we start to nurture them onto the next onto their next path.
Got it. But so when you see those that growing mindset that they have, one of the technicians, you specifically nurture and support them by offering the next level. But we are talking here if they have the mindset to make their own business. So how do you feel about it? So if they are giving that extra miles, that they have that growing business mindset, they had it in them, and they can grow, they can do better, be more, and in better scale within the company. But isn't that also a kind of a threat to you that they can become a competitor? So what do you do in that position? Do you feel that?
So early on, yes, that's when we did have that feeling. We did probably hold some people back. But as the business grew, as we get a lot more experience in running the company, we don't see that as a threat, because at the end of the day, me and Jazz, we both worked for someone, and we quit our jobs and came into the business. Now I have seen where some of our technicians, they went into start doing subcontracting for us, and then after many years, after 4 or 5 years, they realized, no, it's much better to work within the company, because it's the whole ecosystem that we have created, the culture, the well-being of the employees, the personal touch, that we always go the extra mile for the customer. Also, a lot of those employees / subcontractors, they came back to work with us.
That is great. So I was gonna go from two different perspectives here.
Yeah.
Where first one you already started. So let's give a nice recommendation statement for the business owners, security business owners out there that they are new and they are going through these feelings, these challenges with their technicians, that they can see there is challenge, there's a threat. Maybe they're seeing it as threat because they have the growing mindset that they are taking these extra steps and doing more, making more, and they kind of feel threatened by it.
I will suggest that new business owners, new security system companies, they, instead of feeling the hardworking your employees or as a threat, think about it like on the opposite side of the coin. If they are willing to do that extra mile for you, for the customer, for the suppliers, then you're already winning. Your company's name is getting bigger and there's the reputation that you're creating, right? So don't treat it as a threat. At the end of the day, if they want to go start their own business or work somewhere else, let them be, and don't burn your bridge with them. And it's my biggest recommendation to any employees that are listening and thinking about starting their own business. Yes, you can go ahead and start your own business, but don't steal the customers from your current employer, and don't badmouth your customer, your employer, because they kept you employed for so many years, and you learned whether that's a bad things or a good things, but at least you learned the outcomes from there, right? So never burn your bridge. Just keep it a crystal clear picture between the employer and the employee, and then I think it's a win-win situation for everyone. And I am a big believer that the more good you do for the other people, the more good will come to you.
That's a beautiful recommendation, just very positive, and that's how it's supposed to be, right? It doesn't have to be hard feelings and bad shut doors. It can be a long-term business collaboration, even if it comes to. So a business owner, from perspective of business owner, we are saying that support and scale, grow with your team members, which has the growth mindset. If they stay, it's your win. Even if they go, it will be your win. But also a very big part of they play here is the technicians, the security technicians, that they are looking into building their own businesses in future. They should not be going against to where they had their first hand of bread, we'll say, right?
Yeah.
So how would you help them to change into owner mindset? If we are here staying as security technicians, we are talking about those security technicians. You gave the recommendation, don't burn that bridges. That is one thing, but growth mindset itself won't be enough, I believe.
It's not only the growth mindset, you also have to build your own ecosystem. Your family background, family has to be able to support you in your business, because when you're first starting out, you won't be able to work 9 to 5. You won't have necessarily the funds available to fund your business. You won't necessarily have good leads coming to you, right? You won't necessarily have any systems in place. All those things take time, but anybody that has a growth mindset, they can learn it over the years. But it's very important that you have the backing that you need, because it's not on the surface, it might just look like you get a job, you go do it, you collect the money, you move on. But there's a lot of other things that come into play. One example right off top of my head is that even just getting your security clearance from BC Security, it does not happen overnight. It takes few months to get that going, right? So there's a lot of red tape that's involved in the background as well.
Family friend support, being having that back end set system before even having the company system is the major thing for the new security technicians, 100%. I guess.
And networking, that's the other other very important part. At the end of the day, if you have a network into good good builders, good tradesmen, then eventually they will be the one that's feeding you your first clients, right?
Let's talk about Covert as a whole and how the business runs. From two partner, one tech, one office guy, business startup to a team of 10 plus. Who are they? What are their roles? Give us an insight into how you set it up, this system.
So in Covert, we hired one of the very starting on, I believe it was in 2009. We hired this gentleman named Marco Pereira. He was an office manager. He built our total ecosystem for us. He's so I think that was also the one of the best decisions I made by chance, because I wasn't hiring for an office manager. Marco just happened to be looking for a job. He lived in the neighborhood. He dropped off his resume, and then we end up hiring him. He was brilliant. He set up our CRM for us. He worked tremendously on it. As I said, like, it's always the people that go the little extra mile. Marco was one of those guys that went the extra mile. He didn't know too much about the security side of the business, but he knew how to run the office and how to grow the team. So that was one of the best decisions we made, and he set up all the ecosystem. And then the biggest part that also was in a play, which I didn't realize at that time, it was the bank of my mom and dad. That was the biggest backing to my business. Whenever I needed money, whenever I had to pay the credit card bill, I was luckily I had all those funds available. I never thought about it till recent years, where now I'm growing up, I have my own kids, and I'm thinking about their future. Now going back, it takes me down the memory lane. That was also a big part. That's why we became successful.
Well, big shout out to Marco here. If he's listening out there, can give us a like. But let's move forward too, because now we had one office manager, but now we have a lot more than that. We are 10 plus members or employees, sorry, and Covert Security. So let's give a little bit of a quick structure to people out there to understand how this large coming business is working. What are the roles? Who is working for what? We don't necessarily need the names, but as in position.
So we have the biggest or one of the most important roles we have is our own accounting department. That department handles all the receivables, all the payables, all the credit card payments. That department handles all the payment structure to it, and they have the empower. They set on their own budgets. Then they flow with that. So if one of our technicians need something, it has to get approval from the accounting department before we can authorize anything. That's one of the critical system that we have, because cash flow management is one of the biggest challenges that any business can face. Our own sales team. So as soon as the customer calls into our business, there's a sales channel that we follow. So the sales team handle which salesperson's gonna go get which lead, whether that's a commercial lead, a residential lead, or a small retail. So every within the sales department, there's a different levels of salespeople that work out of that field. And then we have a scheduling department that handles all the calls with the technicians and the customers. So they are the day-to-day operation center, where they handle all the inquiries, whether that's scheduling, rescheduling, or the deliveries coming into the office. Then we have a warehouse portion where all the equipment comes in or the equipment goes out. That gets handled by the warehouse person. Then there's a contract processing department as well that processes all the contracts. Basically, any job that we're doing before that, all the contract and the paperwork has to be done. It has to fit in with within our compliance. Then on the out in the field, we have technicians. There's a teams that we are really good at. There's commercial technicians that only handles and deals with the commercial jobs. Then there's residential technicians that only handle the residential jobs. And within residential, we have guys that just like to do the wiring of the houses. So they are only in charge of wiring up the houses. They don't necessarily go to finish the job. So, and then there's network engineer that does all the programming, and so then that comes in also with the technicians. I think I covered
The whole department.
all the different departments.
We also have marketing department.
Marketing department, okay. Well.
Yeah, but as in full operation system, as security company to run that part.
Yeah.
True, we got that part that's covered, but there is one part that we didn't cover here. So from leadership perspective,
Management,
so
yes.
yeah, we started with obviously just on you. But now below that, who helps oversee all these operations from a managerial standpoint?
So we have our director of strategy. He handles basically every department reports up to him. There's a layers of how much information he gets, but he is the guy that's sitting in the back. He's the backbone of the business. He is involved in whether we're acquiring a company, what their financials look like. Yes, there's an external team that helps out put together the contracts and whatnot, but it has to be approved by him. So he is basically the backbone engine of the business.
That's great to hear, because now we cover multi-departments and the importance of each role. Now let's go through some advice here. Let's say I'm in my first year of operation as a security company. Right now, the business is just me and maybe 1-2 technicians I have, or maybe I also have a partner as you do. And I'm about to set up my office team. You told that the first biggest best decision you did was the hiring that office manager that handles the whole system, builds it. But isn't first a couple roles if we are covering here? What roles should I hire first?
When you're first starting out, it's natural that you'll hire another technician to help you out, whether that be a senior tech or a junior tech, but that would be the first step. That should be your first employee. But I think as your team grows and you're trying to go look for more jobs, then definitely you have to have that office manager position. Now that office manager and yourself has to work hand in hand. Everything that you do out in the field, it has to be communicated back to the manager. Otherwise, the manager will not be successful. And yes, as a business owner, you have the liberty to change the schedule or change the parts, but this office manager has to be within the loop. So basically, he becomes extension of yourself. If you're in a meeting, you cannot answer your phone, this office manager should be answering your phone for you. That's how the system, all the information will filter out. And also, that's how you train your clients, because most of the clients, we had this challenge where they wanted either me or Jazz to do the job. And we used to get lots of calls where they said, hey, I don't want your employees to come to the job site. I want you to be present there and actually do the job, because I have this, I have a trust with you. I like the way you do the work, right? So we had to train those clients saying, if you want me to grow, if you want me to succeed, if you want me to finish your job on time, I have to trust my team. I have to train my team. Yes, there will be some mistakes that are being made, but I think we can overcome those challenges.
Yeah, so the most important high ticket here is as in the role, like rather than the technician, is the office manager.
It's
like
extension.
quality, high top
And extension of yourself.
Yeah, true. So we noted over here for the new startups right there. Now let's take a wider view, a lot wider this time though. So over the years, you have significantly expanded your business footprint outside the just security industry with holdings in real estate and hospitality. How do you manage all these businesses? Because here today we are talking about one security business, but in reality, you actually have all other industries as well.
Well, I think one secret to my success is my team. I am blessed to have the right team around me, whether that's management of each business or external banking partners, lawyers. I am very blessed to have the whole ecosystem that I've created over the years, and that's what keeps our business growing. And I have the time to look at other opportunities, whether that's within the security industry or outside. That's what it keeps us going.
So here we're talking a different type of team, correct? Because we've been talking in this episode all about internal cover security team inside a security business. But now that you have the other businesses, we have a maybe same system setup that you had it, but a different team. So you're treating yourself as a different business, like yourself a business that managing all this. So you mentioned you had the bank lawyer and other maybe personal assistant people.
Yes, so yes, I'm involved in all sorts of different businesses, and I invest in a few companies that are growing as well. But I look at myself as its own entity itself. I have a team that handles my daily schedule, that sets up appointments with the future partners or future management people that want to work with us. Yes, so that happens within my office, and then on the external, yes, I have lots of banking partners that we deal with day to day, so they have an insight on our business and how we can structure the loans, or when we're acquiring other companies, how we can structure the deals with them. And then we have external partners uh, that can arrange a different kind of a financing for us. And then there's obviously a lawyer team that has that whatever we do, that has to be everything has to be written up in a way so it's within a compliance and within a legal structure.
So here, if we are to give a message for the other business owners, not necessarily startups, but the ones that is in the growing already, growing from small to medium or even to large business, they will need to start treating themselves as a different business entity. Is that correct?
100%. It's again, it's the mind shift that you have to take yourself out of that business, look at the bigger picture, whether that's just becoming a CEO of one company or multiple different business avenues. But you have to treat yourself, you have to have the financial backing, you have to have the office backing, you have to have the uh, schedule backing behind you. One suggestion I would like to make is, if you are running multiple different businesses, you make sure that uh, all your stakeholders, whether that's your banking partners or your lawyer team, or your personal assistants that you have, they understand what your vision is and what the goal you're trying to accomplish here. I learned my lesson where I didn't have a proper office running. I was running myself basically on my own. Then I didn't have anybody to back me up. Then I did get into some challenges in that. That's a wrap for today's episode, Security Insights with Arvind Dhillon. I hope you found some value in our discussion and come up with few ideas how to grow your business. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel, and leave your thoughts below the episode with some questions. And if you want to connect directly with me, follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Until next time, stay secure and keep growing your business, and let's see you in the next episode.
What happened with that camera?
It's nice.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we were just on to this nice story.
And here
I
it's
know,
good.
and that's why I was sitting there for 3 minutes. You were going so
I thought
well.
that's the heat.
No, it wasn't the heat.